The OnePlus 6T, the notch has gotten smaller, the battery has gotten bigger, and it even has a fingerprint scanner under the screen. But does it make it a better phone? Well, let's unbox it first and find out. Hey guys, Ash here from C4E Tech, and let's get started. If you do end up liking this video, please don't forget to turn on notifications by clicking that bell icon. And as always, here's a card to our monthly giveaway. Check it out if you haven't yet. This is the OnePlus 6T press kit. It comes with a lot of extra goodies that you wouldn't normally get with a retail unit. So we felt it would be pretty cool to show you guys all the OnePlus stuff. Anyway, let's dive right in. Flipping the lid open, and what do we have here? A letter from the fine folks at OnePlus. I'll go through it later. You guys can pause the video and read it if you wanna. Moving on, we have the product information for us reviewers, the spec sheet and stuff like that. Below that, we have the box with what I assume is the phone itself inside, right? Anyway, we will get to that in a bit. First, let's see what this is. Well, this seems to be a red microfiber cloth, and this looks like a car mount. Should come in handy, I think. Now, onto the last box, we have cases, 3 of them in fact. And what else? Bullets Type-C earphones. These are gonna come in handy since, sadly, half a year after OnePlus made fun of Apple for removing the headphone jack, the 6T loses its headphone jack. Anyway, let's get back to the phone itself. This is what we've been waiting for a while now. After all those rumors and leaks and all that, let's just peel all of this off and finally lift the lid. There you have it. That's the OnePlus 6T. You can see the sticker on the bottom half highlighting the in-display fingerprint scanner. Putting the phone aside for a moment, let's take a look at the other box contents. Inside this, we have a translucent soft case, some documentation, and some ejector pin. Digging further into the box, we have a letter from the CEO of OnePlus himself. That's another nice touch. Pause here if you want to read that. Moving on, we have a signature red Type-C cable and a 3.5mm to Type-C dongle. Well, that's OnePlus, what Apple offers. Lame pun aside, we finally have the Dash charger itself. It's still being called Dash here in India at least. The design does feel familiar. The glass back looks nearly identical to the OnePlus 6 minus the fingerprint sensor. This means it's just as slippery as ever. So good thing OnePlus includes a case with this one. We quickly swapped out the default soft case for this nylon one though. It's got a soft touch finish on the inside and a very nice woven texture on the outside. Anyway, like I said, the back hasn't really changed from the OnePlus 6, so let's flip this one over to the front because there's where the interesting bits are. First up, the notch has shrunk. We have a tiny water drop notch that houses the 16-megapixel selfie camera as well as the sensors. The speaker grill is now just a slit at the top edge, and the screen size too has increased just a bit. And we also have Gorilla Glass 6 instead of Gorilla Glass 5. Now this is a Full HD Plus 6.41-inch AMOLED panel, Optic AMOLED, and at first glance, it looks great. The biggest change though lies under the screen. Pick the phone up and you can see the bottom portion of the screen lights up. Yep, that's the in-display fingerprint scanner. In the little time that we spent with it, it seemed quite accurate. Not the fastest, but the scanning animation does look really cool. Of course, Face Unlock returns and remains blazing fast as ever on the OnePlus 6T. And that actually extends to most parts of the software. The deadly combination of Oxygen OS and the Snapdragon 845 means that this phone just flies. In fact, it feels like the Android Pie update has made Oxygen OS even faster. Do you want a speed test? Let me know in the comments below if you really want one. Now coming back to the user experience, OnePlus has tweaked some things around in this new version of Oxygen OS. And one of the things that caught our eye is the updated game mode. Now we haven't had the time to play many games with it, but we did try out PUBG and it ran very smoothly on the OnePlus 6T. As expected, of course. We also have a 400 mAh increase in battery capacity. Now it's a 3700 mAh battery, so this means battery life should be better. Now the OnePlus 6 has been my benchmark for battery life. It's been the perfect one-day battery phone, and not in a good way. It will get me through a day, but not before making me anxious about it. So this change is one I really like. This also means that the 6T is thicker than the OnePlus 6 by less than half a millimeter, but it is thicker for what it's worth. I mean, I personally feel most of us should be fine with it considering the larger battery capacity. The only disappointing thing here is despite the added thickness, OnePlus still didn't manage to find a way to include a 3.5mm jack into the mix. The official excuse is that the in-display fingerprint scanner went where the headphone jack was supposed to go. What do you think? Happy with the explanation? Here's a poll, let me know. If it helps any bit, we did try out the Type-C Bullets earphones. They are not included with the retail box, but they did sound pretty good. Now wrapping the placements up, we have the primary mic and speaker grill flanking the Type-C port at the bottom, power button and alert slider to the right, secondary noise cancelling mic up top, and finally the volume rocker and the dual SIM tray to the left. Obviously, like almost every other OnePlus device out there except one, and I'm sure you know which one. Let me know in the comments. No micro SD. Although OnePlus has increased their base storage to 128 gigs, which means we now have 128 or 256 gigs of storage to go along with 6 or 8 gigs of RAM. Well, that about wraps up all the hardware changes. Did we leave anything out? Oh yeah, the cameras. Well, we have the same cameras as on the OnePlus 6. To the back, it's a dual camera setup, 16 megapixel IMX519 sensor is the primary. It comes with a f1.7 lens with optical image stabilization. The secondary sensor is a 20 megapixel Sony IMX376K, again with the f1.7 lens. The selfie hardware also remains unchanged, and this one for the 4th time in a row, it's the 16 megapixel Sony IMX371. All that said, the software has changed. We have a new night mode that we tried out. OnePlus calls it Nightscape. The results, well, they look quite good, as you guys can see for yourself. There are also a few new portrait effects that we took around for a spin. Overall, I love these cameras on the OnePlus 6. I'm sure I'm gonna love them here on the OnePlus 6T as well. Also, do note that 4K 60 FPS and 480 FPS Super Slow-Mo at 720p are both present and accounted for. So overall, the OnePlus 6T seems like a nice little upgrade from the OnePlus 6. It doesn't bring any major changes under the hood. Even the camera hardware remains untouched. There is one downgrade actually in the form of the headphone jack going MIA, so OnePlus 6 fans, OnePlus 6 users aren't really missing out on a lot. In fact, they are gaining something. The reduced notch definitely looks better, but it isn't a huge deal breaker. And the in-display fingerprint scanner seems nice, but again, it is a trade-off, speed for coolness. Personally, I love in-display fingerprint scanners, though a little slower they are to the front, and I like the placement. But again, it's not a deal breaker. The higher capacity battery and the double base storage does look, both of them do look very interesting to me. All that said, I feel this one is gonna boil down to price. If OnePlus can keep the price of the base variant the same as the OnePlus 6, or maybe real close to it, 1000-2000 rupees here and there, then the OnePlus 6T might be worth looking at. But if OnePlus decides to price this close to the 40,000 rupee mark, then it's gonna be a real hard sell. 40,000 rupees, that is the price point of the 128 gig or OnePlus 6. So if they say, hey, we are still giving you 128 gigs and all that, it's gonna be an issue. At least that's how I see it, especially if the competition heats up and Xiaomi finally decides to take this segment seriously. Anyway, what do you guys think about the OnePlus 6T? Do you feel it's a required refresh keeping up with the changes in the market? Or are you disappointed with the lack of changes? Maybe you were waiting for the third camera that we saw leaked and OnePlus kind of played off it, the ads. Amitabh Bachchan's finger was always over there below the camera, so you never knew if there was a third camera, what were they teasing. I get it, they did it to kind of hide the fact that there was no fingerprint sensor at the back, but where you kind of let that way and were you kind of expecting more from this phone, or whatever you feel, let me know in the comments below. And with that, it is now time I bid you adieu. Please share this video with friends and family if you can. Thumbs up, thumbs down based on what you felt about it. Also subscribe and turn on notifications by clicking that bell icon so that you don't miss out on any of my daily content. Thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, my name's Ash. You've been watching C4 Retech and I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye bye.